journey and your continual growth and you guys building each other. So it's awesome. So I want to first thank you for that. Second, I want to thank you guys for taking it serious enough to show up tonight to learn something about financial growth. How many people know that the Bible talks more about money than anything else? If you didn't know that, it does. So the Bible references money over 800 times. And how many times do you think it references faith?
20.
428 times. So twice as much it talks about money as it does faith or salvation, because literally science has proven and medical science has proven that anxiety, frustration, depression, and divorce all have one stimulus, and that's finances. You get it messed up, and you'll lose sleep, you get stressed down, you get depressed, you'll get into arguments, you get into fights, and money is the biggest thing. It's not the root of all evil. People tell you that, just shut up, devil. It's not. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is literally God's covenant for man to be successful. It's one of his covenants, and I truly believe that if we can get this concept of faith and the reality of what finances means and stuff, then we can all be so financially blessed that we can start giving more and bless others, and the entire community can kind of develop on this. And it's tired of like what I hate is like when I hear preachers begging, like, oh, your miracle's going to come today, but give me $100 and I'm going to give you like prayer and you're going to make $1,000. Like, well, where are you going to find that in the Word? You're not going to find it there, but it does talk about tithing. We're going to talk about tonight also. That faithfulness in tithing, not just time, but also money, does help you grow, and you do get what you sow, right? Amen? So everybody knows you can't have corn if you don't plant corn? All right. All right. We're on the same page here. So I want to give you a few scriptures real quick. So Hebrews 11. I'm going to get to my Bible app real quick. Hebrews 11:1. You guys got pencils? I'm going to give you something here. Also, write it down myself. Do not look at the front. Just pass this around, but do not look at the front of it. Take notes on the back. I want you to write a few things. The first thing I need you to write is behavior. We're going to tie it to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. So the first thing you're going to write in the back is behavior. Now, faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for, that by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible, but by faith Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did, and by faith he was commended as righteous. And when God spoke well of his offerings, and by faith Abel still speaks, even though he is dead. And by faith Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death, and he could not be found, for God took him away. By faith Noah was warned. By faith Abraham was called. By faith, and it just keeps going on and on. The main focus here is belief. So you write down the word belief. Before we even get into talking about finances at all, you've got to have a belief system. Number one, you've got to believe in three major things: time, risk, and liquidity. So I get it all the time. People come to me and say, hey, Joe, what does it take? I got 10 grand. What kind of savings account should I put 10 grand in? I said, I can't tell you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't tell me? Well, you can throw it in a money market. Minimum balance is $10,000. You make $2.25 on it. But if you touch it and you go below that 10 grand at $25 a month, and if you take more than 6 withdrawals, you violate federal law regulation D. You're getting dinged with it. And so I've done an injustice, right? If I tell you to take 10 grand from a money market, so you get $2.25, but if you start using it like a checking account, you're getting fees. The first thing you're thinking is, Joe, you're an idiot, right? If I told you to throw money into a CD to make $1.75 in 11 months, and you're like, this is awesome, you go do that, but then you need the money 3 months later, and now there's penalties to take the money out, you've lost your money, you've made no interest, and now you're like, that was the worst advice ever. So the first 3 things I always ask people is time, risk, and liquidity. Everything funnels around these 3 ideas: time, risk, and liquidity. Now, I can't answer anything for you until you answer those first 3 things: time, risk, and liquidity. You want to buy a house? Time. 30, 15, or 20 year or 10-year mortgage, or how long have you been saving to stockpile to put as a down payment? Time, right? Liquidity. You can't drain your whole savings to buy the house because then you ain't got nothing for emergencies. What happens when the roof goes up, right, Marcella? What happens when the hot water heater breaks? And next thing you do, now you're like, now I got to borrow more money to fix what I already bought on a loan And now I'm in a worse situation, and next thing you know, you're maxed out. I love this commercial. Don't play it anymore. And I can't remember who did it before. Guy was on a golf course. He's driving the riding lawnmower, and golf balls are being hit at him. And he's like, I own this huge house. I've got 3 cars. I have 2.5 kids. And I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. And he's smiling while he's driving, and the golf balls are just dinging off of the lawnmower. I'm like, that's so true, man. You have no idea how many people come into the bank to see me and say, hey, I need a car loan. And I look down, I'm like, you make $125,000 a year, and you can't afford what you want to borrow. They're like, no, I took an advance off my credit card, I pulled money out of here, I dumped this money over here. Lexus won't give me the loan for the SUV, so I need you to give me the additional money. I'm like, I'm not going to give it to you either. What are you doing? To drive around that nice $60,000 Lexus SUV, but you maxed out 2 credit card cash advances at 22 or 26% interest. You want to do a $40,000 loan with me at 9 to 9.25 to go buy this car. It's probably going to get wrecked next year, and you're going to be all out of money. And in the meantime, you're never going to pay for that car, and it's going to cost you 4 times the amount to buy that vehicle. Does that make any sense? Thank you for saying no. Gosh, if you guys said yes, I'm like, Pastor, we need the oil right now. We need anointing. Somebody needs prayer. She actually filed a complaint against me and said I was prejudicial because I wouldn't give her a loan. It's crazy. Behavior. It is proved by medical science. Dr. James LeBar talks about the 21-90 rule. It takes 21 days to establish a behavior, 90 days for it to become like second nature. You can do something for 21 days, you'll commit to it for 90, that becomes like life. In order to break that cycle, medical science shows that it takes 66 straight days to break a behavior. 21 days to form it, 90 days to make it life, but 66 days to break it. So think about that. How many of you guys are committed right now to a continual savings drip? Every time you get paid, money goes to your savings account. Don't raise your hand, you don't have to. But if you're not doing it, you got to start thinking about it. The funny thing is when people come to me and say, I can't afford it, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Like, can you give up one meal deal? Can you give up one McDonald's meal? $5. If you can give up one McDonald's meal, it's $5. By the end of the year, you're going to have $60 you didn't have before. $60 don't sound like a whole lot, right? It's nothing to get real excited about, right? Actually, I'm wrong. It's not $60. That'd be 5 hours a month. 5 times 52 is what? 10, 25, $250, right? So 5 hours a month, 5 hours a week, give you $250 by the end of the year. But if you can commit to $5 a week, what's to say you can't start packing lunches and you eat peanut butter and jelly and banana, right? And skip 2 $8 meal deals at the McDonald's or the Chick-fil-A. And now you're up to like $16 a week, and now you can more than double or triple that $250 by the end of the year. And you're stockpiling some money aside, and next thing you know, at the end of the year, you've got some funds there. And for those of you who like to spend a lot of money at Christmas, I am. I got 3 kids, right? It's great to know you got a little bit of savings stocked on the side to pull it out instead of going out and like regular people rack up credit cards and they're trying to pay a credit card for like 6 months later after Christmas. It doesn't make any sense, right? I hope it doesn't to you. If it does, you're not going to think it does by the end of the day. So faith is the evidence of believing in things not seen, but the believing that the things that God has put in places for you. And Proverbs 16:9, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord will establish their steps. Also like Proverbs 14:9, he who is impulsive exalts folly. In a nutshell, I'm a very impulsive person. My wife will tell you it drives her nuts. I don't like to map out vacations. Before getting married to Rose, I would just, let's go. Jump in the car. I don't care. Let's just drive to Ocean City. We'll figure out when we get there, right? Let's just have fun. I didn't care. Let's go to the Kings Dominion. I don't care. Let's just go to where we want to do. My wife was like, no. What time are we getting there? What time are we leaving? Where are we going to eat lunch at? Who are we going to have dinner with? Where are we going to do this? What time are we going to go to bed? What time are you going to do laundry? What time are we going to How long are we going to be at the beach? What time are we going to like, hey, you're stressing me out. Just go and have fun. But she has taught me that being impulsive is not the greatest thing to be, right? It's not the best thing to be. She maps everything out. Like right now we're going to Disney because my daughter's going to be at Daytona Beach for the cheer competition. We're like, we got to drive to Daytona. Let's just stay a whole week. I've never been to Disney. Disney never been to Disney. Let's go to Disney. And she's like, oh my gosh. Okay. So then she's calling Pastor, Susie, where's that? You guys go to Disney all the time, don't you guys? Oh girl. And then they get to talking. And then it's like, they start talking about this and talking about that. Then she's calling, so-and-so, Carol Reed. Carol says he works at Disney. Well, I don't really work in Disney. I work for Disney, but I live in North Carolina. No, you said you work in Disney. You're going to help with, no, well, here's what you got to do. You know, thanks, Carol. You know? And my wife was on the phone for like 2-3 straight months, diversing and digesting, Disney. Then we finally put mine out. Pay for Disney. Then he comes back and says, oh, would you like the photo lab? It's the photo lab. It's $185. Who needs a photo lab? I'm like, oh, but it saves you photos for like 30 days on this cloud. But you can't use it the very next day. Who wants that? So the first thing she does, she calls a friend. Hey, you go to Disney like 3 times a year. Do you need this? You definitely need it. You absolutely need this. Okay, Joe, we're getting it. So, okay, great. Then he calls back and he says, hey, don't forget, you need to book a restaurant. Every day at each park, book a restaurant. And you got to make sure you show up on time. And if you miss it, it's $10 a person. So that's $50 if you don't show up. What? Now we got to look at all the restaurants. We got to look at all the theme parks. Well, not we, she. Rose dives in and starts looking at all these restaurant things. Like, I give it to her, man. I couldn't do it. I can't sit there for too long and dive into every single restaurant. Who's going to eat with Tangled and who's going to eat with Princess Leia? You know, and I'm like, I just want to show up and eat. And they're like, no, if you do that, Joe, impulsiveness means a 2-hour, 3-hour wait to sit and eat. And then you got 3 screaming kids. So you see, it kind of balances out. You can't be so impulsive. Same as I think with your behavior of savings. You can't be impulsive. You know what people do? I got a tax return. I'll throw some money in the savings. You don't save the entire year. But then you dump some money in the savings from your tax return, and what happens? It's gone before summer gets here. Because you don't have that behavior established, out of sight, out of mind, but you find a way to get it because it pops in your feet somehow. There's a reminder from the bank. You made 15 cents an interest. Like, oh, I got savings. I forgot about that. I did need those new shoes. Oh, there's something wrong with the car. You know, I could do this. The window does need to be replaced. Next thing you know, it's gone. If you're having a baby, next thing you know, things you didn't plan for, expenses pop up, and you're shopping on Poshmark and Maracuda, whatever the thing's called. Something.
Mercado.
So yeah, whatever the thing is called. Oh my God, sells stuff online. She sells stuff, she buys stuff online. It's amazing the stuff she can find. And the savings she can get, I would never have thought it. Never would have thought it. I'm the guy that window shops. I'm walking around 2-3 malls saying, I can get it there, but I can get it cheaper over here. My wife's like, I already found it. It's on the internet. And once we've had it, I already sold it. How'd you sell that? On Marcos, Perry Hall, Mom's Top Swap, stuff, all that kind of stuff. She networks and stuff, man. She's a full-time home mom, and she spends her time on saving money with coupons and everything else. That's how she helps to compensate for some of the lack of the income coming in. So it's extremely incredible what she can do and put the details into managing and planning for that. But that's the behavior she established when she quit working to stay home and take care of the kids. Was she established a brand new behavior of how do I shop to save a lot and forget about certain name brands. And so if it's all detergent as opposed to Tide, I can get 5 all for the price of 1 Tide. I'm going to do that this time. And next time, Tide got a huge coupon, we better go ahead and get that thing real quick. Next thing I know, I got like 15 bottles of toothpaste in the closet. I'm like, we ain't never run toothpaste, man. The snow could hit, and we got enough toothpaste to last us for the last 2-3 years. It's okay. And then we start giving this stuff away because it's going to expire. But behavior, before you even start about finances, on the back you got the word behavior, right? With behavior comes time, risk, and liquidity. If you can establish the smallest bit of behavior, just the smallest thing, like give up 1 meal deal a week. Don't eat out once a week. Take that money you typically would have spent on that and take it out like you did spend it and stick it in the savings. So your routine is typically spending money. Take a portion of that. If you go out and eat, it's $25. Take $12.50, stick it on the side, leave $12.50 in the account. By the end of the week, you've got extra money in your account and you've got a savings established. Don't worry about the savings type. When people come in, I got 25 grand. I had this lady come in, I got $25,000. What do I do with this money? I don't know. Why don't you tell me? What do you mean? You tell me? I'm here to see you. You're the investor. I'm like, I am. But let's sit down. Let's talk about time, risk, and liquidity. And she's like, well, I don't want to lose anything. I said, okay. Well, there goes the investment market. There goes the stock market. We're not going to stock market. You don't have any risk. You don't want any risk at all. How about time? What do you mean? What do you plan on using this? I don't know. Well, define me a need. An emergency that might arise that says, okay, I got to tap into 25 grand here. And she goes, well, I don't know. The car breaks down or this happens. Well, I am going to vacation this year. I'm going there. I said, okay, how do you plan on paying that vacation? I'm going to use my credit card to get the reward miles. Why don't you put it on the credit card? I want to get the rewards. Okay, great. How about this? Can you commit to using the credit card, get the rewards, take that money from the 25 grand, pay the credit card off immediately when you get back from vacation so you don't pay interest. Get your rewards, cash out, and you've made money on the trip, right? She's like, I never thought about that. I said, great, so all we're going to do for you is a money market. We're going to say 25 grand in there. Can you keep over 10 in there? Oh yeah, I don't plan on ever touching this. You just said you would. For the vacation, right? Oh yeah, that's right. Let me get back that. So it's all about the mind stuff. She's not a saver. She inherited 25 grand. She didn't have any money before. I'm not going to tie her money up or talk about anything else except for the behavior. Let's establish a behavior. Can you stick it aside? Don't touch it. A year from now, that money's still there. Let's talk about other things. Let's take baby steps. Let's talk about ways to manage your money better and finances better, right? Instead of putting money on a credit card, making 18 and a quarter, you're paying them. Why not save it? Because you're never going to make that on an interest on the savings or on money market. So it's more about, don't worry about the type of account. So get it out of your mind. If you got money, forget, Joe, where's the best place to put money at? How am I going to make money? First thing I want to say is behavior. You have the behavior of saving. You have the behavior of managing your finances. And what is your time, liquidity, and your risk levels? What is your risk tolerance? If you can answer those three things, time, risk, and liquidity, you can start focusing on, okay, now I can have an open mind. Because here's some ideas I got. Here's how long I can hold on to that money, never touch it. And then we can start talking about things, about other ideas. The greatest thing is IRA accounts or 401ks should never ever be touched. Right? You can borrow for everything else, but you can't borrow for retirement. And if you think Social Security is going to be there, don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself, because don't depend on the government to raise you. You've got a plan for yourself, right? God's very specific about not being the borrower, but being the lender. And sometimes you got to borrow to get what you got to get. But if you can manage that to a manageable time and pay that thing off in time and believe and have that belief system that I can still save money and still afford this, and don't buy what you can't afford. You have no idea how many times people have been sent to me to get a mortgage, and I tell them, you're approved, but I'm not going to give you a loan. What do you mean? Like, because the creditor will allow you to go to 60% of your income to buy a home. And that factors your homeowner's insurance, and it factors in your property taxes. What it doesn't affect is your COLA, your cost of living expenses. So how are you going to eat? How are you going to afford that car payment you got? How are you going to put clothes in your back? You got a kid? Yeah. How are you going to pay that kids? They plan to do any sports? Well, yeah. So why would I give you that mortgage? You can, according to the credit, yeah, you can afford it, but then you only have 40% of your income that's left. And you know what? That doesn't factor in everything else that's going to come out. Now, the next thing you know, if something happens, a surgery, a medical, a child, an accident, a car accident, an unemployment, how are you going to pay for that mortgage? When you ain't got nothing saved on the side, and 60% of your money went towards paying the mortgage. I'm not going to approve it for you. The guy went and got it done somewhere else. He goes, I got that mortgage anyways. So, congratulations, buddy. I would never suggest it. He's in a church, high five, God got me the loan. No, God did not get you the loan. Your credit got you the loan. Your income says you can afford the loan. I'm just going to stop right there. I'll pray for wisdom. Behavior. We got to establish the right behaviors. Amen? Is it bad to borrow? The answer is yes and no. Right? If the point is right to borrow, it's okay. But don't tie up more than half of your paycheck in where you can't afford anything else. And don't tie up where you can't afford giving to God either or paying your tithes, because now I flip over to paper. In that paper, Pastor, you want one?
Yes, please.
So this is part of a 5-page journey, financial journey we put together called Wellness, Financial Wellness. I only took just this one thing because everything else is just too much for tonight. And it's something we do when we sit down as a one-on-one. So what this does, if you read down this paper here, it kind of breaks out everything that can possibly ever apply to you, which is applicable. Now, one thing that people say, one person from the church came and said, oh, it doesn't say we're tithe. Actually, it does. Scroll further down. It'll say charitable gifts. Right there, charitable contributions. Boom. There's your tithes. It is super important that we don't neglect God or His house and say, oh, you're just trying to get money out of it. The church just wants to get rich. No, man. Church don't need your money. The church is going to be successful whether you give or don't give. It's going to be successful. It's going to grow. It's going to be prosperous. God put this thing here for a reason. There are people here. You're here because you could have been anywhere else, but God wanted you to be here. Amen? God wants to establish it. It's there. It's going to grow. It's going to develop. People are going to give their time and their money and their efforts. But wouldn't it be great if we were all good stewards of this, of faith, and had a great belief process? It's so important that the ones who put this together at P&CI, actually, they give over $450 million a year to a program called Growing Up. So all you that got kids, I know you're getting married, you probably have one this year. Sorry, yeah.
No. Don't worry about it.
What's really cool about P&CI does with P&C is that they take, and at the age of 3, they establish what's called Growing Up Savings, or S is for Savings, and it's partnered with Sesame Street, and it's in 42 states now that we published this. We went from $300 million to $420 last year. We're doing $730 million this year. We're investing into kids to understand the value of savings and building the confidence of how to manage their money. Now, I started doing this when Madison turned 4. We gave her 5 $1 bills, and she'd go to Walmart. Whatever you want, you got $5. Don't factor in the taxes. That's just silly of me to think you can do that. And still today, she's got that habit. She knows she can bat in her head, oh, I can't get that. Savannah, at the age of 4, did the same exact thing. Lynn is now turning 4. We're trying to teach him that. Lynn don't want to spend anything. He's got $21 to his name. He won't spend anything. And what he does, he throws a fit and cries in the middle of the store. You don't love me. I hate you. I'm like, jeez, get the piece of candy. Just shut up. I'm like, I'm burnt out from the other 2 kids. But no, most of them are like, I don't care about it. I just pick him up and he scream at his phone upside down like this. Stop, you're going to kill me. Like, throw him in a shopping cart. You don't shut up. Taking all your monster trucks and you're going to jail. No, don't put him in jail, Dad. And I'm like, I can only imagine what people are thinking in Walmart. What's this guy doing, man? Gosh, these poor kids. So let's start from the very top. Because the most number one thought of everybody wants to own a home, right? Number one priority on here, mortgage or rent. But what people don't think about mortgage and rent, do you have homeowners association fees? Do you have insurance on the house? What about your property taxes? Home maintenance, repairs, saving up for that. Bobby's a home improvement. He'll tell you that some of these costs for windows or roofs and things, the average cost of these things could run you like, what? 10 grand to replace a roof? Man, how about I pay that? Bobby's like, I don't take credit cards either. So it's like utilities, cable, internet, phone, auto loans. Don't just think about the auto loan. Think about the insurance on it, the fuel, the maintenance that goes with that vehicle. People are like, I can afford that car loan. Can you afford the insurance? What about the oil changes? What about the gas that goes in there? What about when the tire goes flat and you got to pay for that to get fixed? It doesn't get fixed for free. I didn't think about all that, Dad. Savannah wants a Tesla. I'm like, keep dreaming, baby. You'll get it. That's okay. You're 8 right now. You got plenty of time. By the time you turn 16, that Tesla will probably worth $5 grand. You can get it then. You can get a part-time job and buy that Tesla. That's what she's determined. Think about other things. If you work and you got to travel places, about parking, transportation, food, groceries, personal care, clothing, purchases, and dry cleaning, medical and dental and deductibles, alimony. Hopefully nobody goes to divorce. Let's worry about alimony, child support if you did. Loan payments. Loan payments is all-encompassing of everything. I tell people if you borrow something from your mom or dad with the intent of paying it back, you better put it down there and be honest with that. Pay it back. Because if you didn't, you borrowed without the intent of paying it back, and you told me you would, therefore you lied and you stole. Just throwing it out there. Credit card payments, life insurance, premiums. Then go down to discretionary. Entertainment and dining out, vacations and travel, gifts, occasions, special occasions such as weddings. Man, there was a lot last year I went to. Hobbies, recreations, subscriptions, associations, dues, memberships. Got to count in your gym like me. I decided to get to the gym this year, although God was blessing me and I met the regional and he gave me all my, I told you, right? The guy's like, your membership's free for the next 2 years. Yours and your wife's, you guys get the black diamond, take friends, what do you want to do? I was like, what? So I got the tanning booth, I got the hydro bed. He's like, yeah, whatever you want to go do. I was like, thank you, Jesus. That's faith, man. That's having the right behaviors and practicing consistently, and you get rewarded. Favor, what is it, Pastor? Favor is better than money. Amen? Subscription, associations, memberships, dues, charitable contributions. I'll just put next to it tithes. Put next to it tithes. That's exactly what it is. Pet care, supplies. Don't think about, oh, I got a dog. This is cool. Lacey's giving away dogs, so she's selling. I'm going to give you that puppy. What about the vet bills? What about the food? What about the destruction's going to do to your house? When it chews at the side of your couch? When it pees on the floor and the floor's like, are you ready to pay for all those repairs? But the puppy's so cute, Daddy. No, Madison, it's not coming home. Miscellaneous. Anything that you can think of that they didn't put down this expense sheet. Then you put that discretionary at the bottom there. Add A and B together. Put your total monthly there. And then, I know that this also actually talks about annual spending, but I like to break it down just your monthly. That's just your monthly right there. Don't multiply by 12. That's just your monthly spend right there. What do you get in your paycheck? And then as that debt exceeds your income by more than 60%, you're out of care. You're out of it. Right? You're off balance. You got 60% of all your money that's coming in or more is being tied up into debts and things that it shouldn't be going to, and life is a struggle. It's not easy to pack up and be impulsive all the time. It's not easy to get motivated sometimes. And the arguments, the depression, the stress, when people are out having fun, you're like, oh, man, I wish I could go. I'm just broke. I don't get paid for another 5 days. I ain't got groceries yet. And the next thing you know, you're begging for the food banks, you're picking here, you're picking there, you're skipping meals and stuff. And I hear these commercials all the time. It's like, I used to get to the food bank, but now I'm the one taking them to the food bank. And it's like, and it's sad what things can happen sometimes. But if we have the right behaviors and we can establish a behavior of saving and not spending and not being compulsive, we can establish the right things. And sometimes if you're compulsive, if you're impulsive, it's okay. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's good. But you gotta manage it somehow. You gotta start fixing it. Remember, 66 days it can take to fix a bad behavior or any type of behavior and put it in place. I am on, how many days have we gone so far this year?
29
20th
plus
day.
39, 20 plus 31.
51 days. We're 51 days into the year so far. And I have not been a great steward of the gym. I've committed to maybe 2 days a week, but it's okay to fail because it means first attempt at learning. And maybe that learning is like, I don't know, Thomas Edison who created the light bulb. He didn't say he failed 10,000 times. You know what he said? He said it took 10,000 steps to get it right. So sometimes failure is not a bad thing if you look at it the right way. That look, I'm trying to chisel away and reconfigure my mind and my thought process and my behavior so that my behaviors can turn around and start working the right change in my life, which means I'm hitting the gym 5 days a week, and I'm still using cheat days. I shouldn't even have that word in my mouth, cheat day. But my diet is still not where it needs to be, and I'm lucky to commit to 2 days a week at the gym. And I got the apps, and I got the app that keeps texting me every day. Hey, you didn't do your stuff yesterday, your abs. I know. And if Christopher Curio ever comes to Baltimore, she never will because he lives in California, then I guess he'll hunt me down. I'm like, dude, the app says you did this thing like twice this year. What's going on? It's a behavior I got to establish, I got to correct, I got to fix. So how many of you got a scripture that you use for faith? Nobody, huh? How many of you guys got a scripture that you use for finances?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The baby does. She's got it going on. All right. How many of you guys committed this year to a New Year's resolution? We're a prayer night now.
No, yes, we all did. We made vision boards last month. Everybody did, right?
So now you're all
Yeah,
alive.
we all put scriptures on it.
Man. So you lied to her with the board, you lied to me, you said you didn't make one. I'm going to give you one just for ratting them all out. So, how many of y'all got a dream? Hopefully everybody does, right? How many of y'all got a 3 to 5 year plan? All right. So one of the coolest things I remember was sitting with Pastor when I came and said, hey, I'm getting married. And he's like,
Don't do it.
Man, no you're not. That's what he told Rose. And I remember he said, look, we're going to have marriage counseling. We've got 12 classes we're going to have. And I said, okay, great. So we had 5 out of the 12. And all I remember is one of the classes was strictly about finances. He said, you have a 3 to 5 year plan. And we looked at each other like, 3 to 5 year plan. He said, you have a 3 to 5 year plan. What do you guys plan on seeing yourself in 3 to 5 years? And we never thought about that. I don't know, getting married, having a baby, eventually getting out of the apartment. He's like, well, what does that look like to you? We're looking at each other, we're like bankers. We don't know. We never actually thought about that. That was the smartest thing I ever got. I was like, you're absolutely right. How can I think about, we're getting married, we're planning for the wedding. And I'm just also, I just want to get the wedding done. When that's done, go to the honeymoon, be gone, and enjoy Punta Cana, and then come back and be like, yeah, I got a burnt sun. I don't care because I had a great time, awesome time. And then we'll think about other things. And Pastor was like, look, if you don't think about it now, it's only going to cause problems later on in your marriage. And after you get back from the honeymoon's over real fast because you ain't got a plan. And we're like, you're absolutely right. So we started thinking, what do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? I want to see the family home. How do we get there? How do we do this? How do we start something? Can we afford this? Can we afford that? We started talking to people, mortgage agents, MLOs. We started saying, so you can do tours around, looking at real estate agents, looking at homes. Can we afford this? We could. We were going to strap ourselves there. Right? Do we want to move out of state? All these things start going through your head. You start putting together a 3 to 5 year plan. And sometimes things will happen and will derail your 3 to 5 year plan. And it's okay. You got to do a knee-jerk reaction, kick back and say, okay, wait a minute, let me get refocused. If you got the right behaviors, the behaviors will warrant you to be able to sit back, concentrate, and get yourself refocused. But if you don't have the right behaviors, catastrophe happens. The next thing you think is broke. So how many people have committed so far to a 3 to 5 year plan and have shared it with somebody else?
Cameron and I did one in our marriage counseling with Pastor Jude. We made.
You shared it with Pastor Jude.
There you go.
There you go. All right, that's awesome.
This is nice.
Just to cool you off, because you guys are on fire.
I like turns off and turns back on.
So, I mean, think that savings is as important as tithing.
No.
You're right.
Yes.
They're both equally as important. The Bible talks about becoming a lender, not a borrower. How can you lend if you don't have anything reserved, anything set aside? It also is super important to know that in that chart there, you put the word tithe. You've got to factor in something to tithing. If you can't do 10% right now, do 1%. Eventually, you can build that plateau and get to 10%, maybe 20%. Who knows? I mean, there's no roof, there's no ceiling. God doesn't say you can't limit him. You know, test him. Test yourself. Test your own behaviors. So I hope that with a little bit of talking all over the place, just the main focus I want you guys to get out tonight was behaviors, establish one. If you don't have one, it could take 66 days of continually trying to establish a good behavior before it actually takes foot. And then another 90 days after that before it becomes life. Because the typical behavior you have now, you probably started more than 21 days, it's been 90 days, and it's who you are. But it's not true. Then a zebra can't change its stripes. I love Madagascar when the guy's like, you know what? Remember he's chewing on the zebra's butt, and he's like, you just bit me. Alex, you just bit me. He's like, no, buddy, no. I was licking your butt. You know what? You're right. You're not black with white stripes. You're white with black stripes. Your stripe did change. He's like, you know, it's true. I mean, I truly believe that if we are focused and committed, and we can focus and commit to changing a behavior, and no matter how many times you fail, the best thing to do is share it with somebody else. Pastor's a great person to come to and say, hey, I got a few ideas for financial fitness, and I want to get people coming all the time. What do you think about this? You come up with a plan. I'll review it. I'll talk to you about it. We'll sit together. We'll talk more about it. If it makes sense, let's commit to it. If it doesn't, it's okay. Recalibrate. The main important thing is focus always time, risk, and liquidity. Don't tie things up that you ain't going to need, because if you're going to need it, don't think about long term. And by all means, don't say, oh, I'm throwing $1,000 in right today. I'm throwing all this money to save this money. If you've not had the behavior to save before, you're going to find yourself pulling the money back out, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to give up. I've not been great at the gym. I've gotten stronger. I've done the one-arm workouts that ruined me for the rest of the week, right? Did really heavy on my triceps and my lats. Next day was bench press, and I couldn't lift anything. I was like, my gosh, I lost all my strength. I did the wrong routine, and I did the wrong thing, and now I'm kind of constantly going back, because I didn't hire anybody to put things together. I'm trying to figure out my own. I'm trying to save me some money. And I messed up. So here I am 51 days into it, and I didn't go to the gym this entire week. And it's okay to say, Joe, you're a hard worker. It's okay. But the behavior is I'm still trying to focus on it, and eventually I'm going to get it right. So don't give up. Amen. Don't quit. Don't stop. 21 straight consecutive days. If I can get it down, eventually it starts that behavior to change. If I commit to 90 days, it's life. Next thing you know, I'll be the nutritionist and fitness trainer. Then I can retire. Not really. So how many of you guys have committed to a financial fitness goal this year? Hopefully you guys have. Have you guys met with Pastor yet? Put together a plan, marriage counseling, 3 to 5 year plans? Huh?
Probably his dad.
So I think it's super important to think about these things.
I haven't really been thinking about this at all.
I really like the fact that you guys have gotten together and said, hey, let's commit to an hour tonight, hour and a half, whatever, to focus on finances and talking. And I just really appreciate that Pastor's here to give us something. He said something this Sunday that's just wrecked my mind, and I tried every configuration to figure out what he's talking about. To be a millionaire in 27 years, and I've come up with every calibration and number and stuff. And I said, well, if I say 1425 every 14 days for 702 different times, that equals 27 years. I have $1,300,000. But who can put aside 1,425 hours every 2 weeks? That's $702 a week. I was like, man. So then I started doing 28% compounding interest, and I started factoring back, and eventually I got to a number, and I said, I don't know what he's doing, but I can't wait to hear what he has to say tonight about this, and how to be established like that. So I've been racking my head, Pastor, non-stop since Sunday morning when you said that. The first thing I went to was my calculator and the numbers in my head. And for the last 3 days, I'm like, I can't wait for tonight. Not about me being here, but to hear what he has to say about the 27-year, $1 million. And because it's just very interesting to me to hear what he has to say and the concept of it. And I thank you guys. I wish you the best of luck. Find a scripture. There's 800 of them about finances. Find something out there. Find something about faith. Commit to it. Look back at this behavior. Establish the behavior. Remember, it could take 21 days to establish it and 9 days for it to become life. 66 to change a bad behavior. But if you can commit to it, and if you have a struggle with it, tell somebody. Let them be that partner to smack you around a bit and give you a few of these power drivers in wrestling and smack a chair over you or something like that. You get to refocus because it helps. If you can't commit to it, get somebody, get there and keep reminding you and say, dude, don't give up. Don't give up. You can do this. You can do this. So for the good of the group, does anybody have anything they want to say about what they've done so far for savings?
I thought about saving. No, I've been thinking about it.
That is good. All right, so the first thing you do is at least start thinking
Is
about it.
Acorns at?
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. Before you get into investments, study your butt off about the investments. Go to Yahoo Finance, go to Market Watch, go to IBK. Study the heck out of these things. Don't just get into Acorn because it's a free app and the stocks are free or cheap. You'll lose your shit. And don't throw yourself in there if you can't afford to lose. If you're going to put $1,000 in stocks, say it's okay if I lose $1,000, I'll lose $1,000. That's the way you got to look at it. The first when you get into it, and also think about the time, that risk, and that liquidity. If you're putting anything into purchase stocks, but you need that money, don't get into it. Don't get stocks. Wait until you can establish a savings of at least 6 months worth of income. So if something were to happen to you, you've got something there that can pay for your sicknesses, or your vacations, or your surgeries, or an accident, or a baby on the way. If you don't have that savings set there, forget about the Acorn. Because you're going to put money in there, you can lose money in the stocks, and you're never going to have a savings net, you're never going to have a security thing. So I love when people say, I'll go to Acorn, or I'll go to Peter Pan. That's great. You go to IVK, that's great. If that money you can't take the risk of losing it all, then don't look at it yet. If you don't have at least 3 to 6 months worth of income saved up in savings somewhere. And don't lose everything else, but really, what I would say is start the behavior of savings first, commit to ties, commit to focus of that new behavior, get that down first, and then talk about stocks later on. Don't talk about product, where am I going to put this money at? Just stick in the basic savings. Just get that behavior first, focus on those 3 things, you get those 3 principles down, that behavior's right, later on you got enough money to start fooling around and playing with things. Cool?
One thing I found helpful for me is having savings. I know they say have checking and savings at the same bank, but to me, like I had Bank of America and I had both, and I found like it was too easy to access. So I feel like having a savings account that it's like
Separate.
it's separate and it's like I have to make the effort to get it if I wanted to get it.
That's a good point, so I'm going to give you this for that. Think about this. What if you had the same bank, you don't have to go to 3, 4, 5 banks, people do this all the time, it drives me nuts. What if you're in the same bank and you have 3 things? It's called the common core. So you have your expense account, that's your operating, all your bills come out of this account, your direct deposit comes in here. Then you have your reserve, it's a checking. 2 checking accounts. You take a little money in that reserve. When that reserve has a little extra money, then you take that and you put it in your growth, that's your savings. That when you need the emergency, that reserve is right there. So you got your checking, you got another checking or a savings, whatever, that's your reserve. That's when you have access to an emergency. But that growth, that's when you don't want to see on the app. Most banks will allow you to delete it off the app so you can't see it. Right? It makes it difficult. You can have auto drip that goes in there.
This
So you
one-
have those 3. That's the best way to do it.
When I had Bank of America, I remember literally it was like so easy to be like, oh yeah, it's like the checking, the savings, it's like had the app, and it's like, oh yeah, it's so easy to just transfer it right away.
It is. But again, it's not
Okay,
about
see,
it's
that's
not
what-
about the bank or it's not about the inconvenience. It's really about the behavior. It's can I afford to take and throw $5 aside into a growth account, and it's literally growth. It is what it means. It's growing. I don't touch it. And I have a reserve account. I nickname it reserve. That's that out of savings that if I got an emergency, I touch that. So it's not that you have to have different banks, different apps. I don't want to see them. It's just really all you got to